Hey guys, welcome back. I hope the anticipation didn't kill you too bad, but it's here. So I'm excited. I'm really excited. Check it out. Guys, this is so fun. So I got the GPS going. I got here right before dark. And I kind of got myself used to it because it takes a lot to get used to the steering, and I'm still not used to it. But the guy, anyways, the guy that I'm cutting this for is the guy I bought this original hay company from. And he was out here showing me the rounds, and he was showing me how to run this because he used to have these. So we did a few rounds, then I just kept working to get used to everything before I started dragging the camera into it. And I wasn't using auto steer at all. And then, I don't know, I'm just kind of getting brave enough to try it. So now I'm using auto steer, and this is awesome. So this ground is really rough. It's right along a river, but there are spots where I'm getting up to 15 mile an hour on the smoother stuff, but I'm averaging about 11 to 12 mile an hour. And then obviously in the rough stuff I'm slowing down quite a bit, but this is fun. This is really fun. Alright, so I got the GPS working again. I had to go around the tree back there. But this thing is pretty sweet, and I'm super excited to have it and run it. So I didn't really explain what was going on here. It all happened so fast. This is a John Deere W235. It is used. It is not new. It is pretty new, but it has a $500 head on it, 16-foot head. And basically what I decided to do was I was going to update my cutting equipment for all the acres that I do. And when I kind of started to pencil stuff out, it was either Dad's not always around to help me cut all the time, so either I would have to start looking into hiring somebody to cut, and then I'd have two machines to update, one being that case swather and one being that John Deere. But the John Deere, we completely rebuilt that, and I like the way the John Deere cut better than the case, and that's just my personal preference. But I felt like the John Deere outperformed the case cutter, the DC 163, and so I was going to update and look at getting another pull type swather from a John Deere and getting a new one. But then after I started penciling stuff out and kind of talking to my dad about what I wanted to do, and we just kind of figured the best thing for me was to just buy a self-propelled. I looked into leasing one, and I was really scared about going over the hours on them because it's about 100 hours a year on a 3-year lease, so 300 hours total. And I kind of thought that I would go over that or be really close to it. And so I just, well, maybe I'll just look into buying one. So that's what I did, and I ended up buying this one. I got a really good deal on it. At least I felt like I got a really good deal on it from Acres Equipment. So yeah, I ended up buying this machine, and luckily I had a second cutting grass up here along the river to do. There's a possibility of doing a 5th cutting alfalfa on irrigated, but I'm not sure. It's kind of a play by ear. Otherwise, I'm really looking forward to next year. So these things are, I'm sure as many of you know, these things are not cheap. And you really gotta see if you can justify it. But the way I figured is I'm gonna be able to cut faster, both In the field going down, this machine will handle faster gears because it's got more horsepower and it's got an updated header on it. So I'll be able to cut faster and it's smoother. Number two, I'm not switching side to side all the time, so I'm going to be faster in the corners and just overall. So I'm going to get more acres done than I will with a pull type. So the way I justified it is, if I get rid of my pull behind swathers and just have this, I will get the acres done that I need to get done just as fast as I would having two. So that's just kind of the way I did it. I also figured that the resell on a self-propelled is going to be a lot better than the resell on a pull type swather. Just because in our area we don't do a lot of hay. There's not a lot of hay to do in this area, but it seems like a self-propelled is a self-propelled. It's always going to sell. So those are just my 2 cents on it. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of video of this thing running. I'm going to get a close-up video of it tomorrow in the shop so you can kind of do a walk around of it. This is just this hay had to get cut and I had to get up here, and I didn't get this thing delivered until 4:30. So it is what it is. So yeah. Hey guys, so last night I didn't really go over much detail with the swather, and I didn't do a heck of a lot of filming because by the time I got there, this thing got delivered about 4:30, and then I had to turn around and reload a swather that I traded in on this, and then I had to drive this an hour. Well, it was about an hour and 25 minutes. So by the time I got there, I barely had time to kind of figure this machine out, how to run it, how to set it, get everything done that I wanted to before it got dark, and then I ended up cutting in the dark quite a bit. But I'm going to kind of go through this thing here and explain. We kind of jammed everything in the shed here, but so this has a 500R head on it. This machine is used. I bought this used. It must have came off of a lease program, or maybe just a one owner deal. But this is a John Deere W235 self-propelled swather, 16-foot head, 500R, which is the newer head for these self-propelleds on the John Deere system. They have a cross auger in the head. I'll see if I can get the hood open to show you. It's dirty. So back here, you can see there's a cross auger with the V10 rollers. So the cross auger really helps you. They say it don't make a whole lot of difference in alfalfa, but it makes a huge difference on grass. This thing is a grass cutting machine. I went with the tractor tire tread over the diamond treads just because there's a lot of cricks, not like a crick that you would think, but like water runways or little ravines from irrigation that I have to go to get back to some of the corners I go, and I don't want to worry about getting stuck as easy. I still might switch the tires so they're backwards, so that way I get stuck going forward, but I can always go in reverse to get out. Haven't decided yet. But we'll climb up this thing and I'll talk to you a little more about it. This thing is huge. So this machine is basically identical to our combine for the most part. Hydrostat drive, has a smaller screen than what our combine does, but you can buy a bracket here and put the 2630 that's in my tractor. You can mount that screen there if you want a bigger one. I didn't really have an issue with this little screen, but it would be nice to see a bigger screen. So I might play with that this summer. I probably won't be using this again this fall. That's probably my last cutting. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Otherwise, it's here for next year. You got the Harley pegs. This one is cloth seat, no fridge. But one thing I know, so our combine is set up identical. It's the same exact cab, but the more optioned leather, yada yada. It has the fridge. And the one thing I know about John Deere fridges is they work for a little bit and then they don't work. Maybe that's our luck with it. I don't know. So I'm kind of glad it don't have it, because it gives me all this room right here. And they do have a cigarette lighter down here, a plug-in. So, I mean, if you wanted cold drinks and you didn't want to pack a cooler, you could buy one of those plug-in coolers and just set it down there, because there's so much room. So I don't know. I might do that. It's hard telling. But the one thing is this thing is smooth. It was super smooth cutting last night. First gear I can run at wide open 15 mile an hour before you have to switch to second gear. So if you were in a really smooth field, you could go to second gear. You could idle down your RPMs on here to get a little more fuel efficient and run 16, 17, 18 mile an hour. I don't know. I don't see myself doing that, but I guess, I don't know. I guess we'll play with it this spring and see what happens. But last night I was running about 14 mile an hour a lot of the times, and I was running about 9 mile an hour a lot because it's really, really rough. However, this thing was so smooth compared to a tractor. I mean, it was unreal. Absolutely unreal. So this will be fun. It does have the GPS on it. So this spring I didn't do a lot of videos haying. I mean, you kind of got to imagine, so it takes 2 hands to fly a drone. I mean, if you're good, you could probably do it with 1 hand. But when you're pulling a pull-type swather behind a tractor, you have 1 hand running your controls. You have 1 hand on the steering wheel and you're driving. There's no GPS in it. There's not a lot of options to try and get good video with a drone and stuff. Where here, I can use that auto track and I can set my line and it can go and I can fly the drone or whatever, get a few more videos. Okay, thanks for watching, guys.